Who is this story about? A woman named Tabitha, devoted to good works, becomes ill and dies. The faithful who surround her are so distraught that they send for the apostle Peter, who happens to be nearby. Peter comes to join them and prays by the side of Tabitha, saying, "Tabitha, get up." Miraculously, Tabitha opens her eyes and sits up. News of her recovery becomes known throughout the city, and many believe in God. Who is this story about? The writer of Acts includes this story in the text to tell us something about Peter. Simon Peter is establishing himself as the foremost leader of the early Jesus movement of the early church. And this author wants us to know that he is worthy. Peter is worthy, a leader like Elijah and Elisha and Jesus. He's a healer, a miracle worker whose acts inspire many to believe. It is only because this writer wants to tell us something about how impressive Peter is that we hear about Tabitha and her community at all. But the background of this story is at least as interesting as the primary narrative. Tabitha, we learn, is a woman from the predominantly Jewish port city of Joppa. A member of the local Christian community, she is devoted to good works and acts of generosity. Among other things, she has made tunics and other clothing for widows who live around her. Scholars debate Tabitha's social status. Some believe her to be a woman of independent means who becomes a philanthropist, an almsgiver, focusing her giving on other single women. Others believe that her name suggests that she may have been enslaved or formerly enslaved, and that she may support herself with the same clothing that she gives without cost to those who need it. Regardless, Tabitha has made a name for herself through her generosity and her innovation. The early church community has already set up a system of distributing wealth to widows. Widows, a group that included any single woman, whether bereaved or divorced or otherwise unattached. But the church's system uses only men to distribute care. Women are the subjects, not the agents. Tabitha has done what she is able to do anyway, on her own. And her care has made her a leader so indispensable to her community that they demand an intervention at the time of her death. They just don't want to do without her. They demand an intervention for this woman, one of so very few in the Bible who is given a name, and the only woman in the book of Acts who is explicitly called a disciple. Who is this story about? It is about Peter. It is also about Tabitha and her community. And because of Tabitha, it is also about all the other women whose sacred labor has not been recognized for its true worth, which is considered good works or charity or philanthropy instead of ministry or leadership, simply because of the gender of the person doing the work. So this story is for all of the church ladies, the ministers' wives, the altar guild members, the social service providers, Bible study leaders, the benefactors, the nurses and aides, the Sunday school teachers, and so many more. Whether or not their labor has been given titles or esteem or payment, their ministry is indispensable. This Sunday, we spend time with our beloved 23rd Psalm, which describes God as our shepherd, guiding us, protecting us, fulfilling our physical and spiritual needs. And we know that this holy shepherding, this divine shepherding work happens so often through human hands and through human hearts. I wonder, who have the shepherds been in your life? Whose loving labor has been indispensable to you, whether or not it's recognized by others? Let's allow the names of these shepherds to rise up in our hearts. Let's lift up our gratitude for all that they have given us. Please pray with me. Holy God, thank you for being the shepherd for this unruly band of sheep, too often stubborn and misguided, liable to injure ourselves and one another, hungry always for abundant pastures, thirsty for clear streams, searching for safe places to lay down our heads. Thank you for Tabitha, who met the needs around her with courage and generosity. For all those with or without recognition who have given shepherding gifts throughout the years. And for the shepherds who have guided our lives and taught us about your love. Help us each to find ways to share in this holy work of shepherding in your name and for your glory and through your abundant love. Amen.